In Carthage, Missouri, former New York-based writer Nick Dunn returns home to find his wife Amy missing, sparking intense media coverage due to her fame as the inspiration for the Amazing Amy children's books. The media becomes suspicious of Nick due to his apparent indifference. Entries in Amy's diary reveal their troubled marriage, exacerbated by financial strains and Amy's resentment over their move to Nick's hometown. Then, Amy miraculously returns home, and we learn that she has orchestrated a complex plan to frame Nick for her murder, making it appear that Nick is guilty of violence and infidelity. If you're thinking that sounds crazy enough to be a movie, you're right. That's the plot of Gone Girl. But what if something that crazy really did happen? And what if the police were so sure it was exactly the same as the movie that they'd ignore evidence and try to put you in jail for it? I'm Laura. I'm here with my best friend Marina, and this is Grimm.
I was thinking Gone Girl the whole time you were talking.
I was wondering, because I think, did I read the book or what? I don't know.
In the movie, isn't her name Amy?
Yeah.
And didn't she write books called Amazing Amy?
I literally wrote the description of Gone Girl.
Oh.
You're like, isn't the guy's name Nick? Aren't they in Missouri?
Wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's why it very much sounded like that's the plot of the movie.
Yes, because it is.
Did you know there's a real podcast that is, I can't remember what it's called, but they tell a story and then you have to guess whether it's a movie or a real true crime case.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called though.
So this is both.
Okay.
Because that one, I just said the word both. And I was talking to somebody about this, that in the Northeast, we put an L in both.
Okay, so this was a point of contention in my house because my sister says both, like with an L.
Both.
It's both. Laura's lips were quivering, like her
both. I literally can't.
Both. Yes, both.
Both. It's like je suis.
Je m'appelle.
Okay.
Fleet of floop.
Both. Okay. We have some Patreon shout outs before I tell you this real gongoyle. The gongoyle.
The gargoyle.
Okay. Are you ready to get into Patreon?
I am.
That's what we say at home. Are you ready? That's what gets my dogs all jazzed up.
Are you ready for spaghetti? I don't think you're ready for this jelly. I don't think you're ready. Okay. My body's too bootylicious for you, babe.
Julia F.
We love you, Julia.
Thank you so much. You, Julia. Lily is Grimm too.
We love you so much.
We love you, and I am really wondering where Lily is Grimm 1 is. Where are you?
I think it's Lily is Grimm also.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That just clicked?
It did.
Okay, well, we're waiting for Lily is Grimm 3, so if your name is Lily, get on that.
Yes, Lily. Okay. Adele, we love you.
We love you.
Thank you, Adele.
Are you turning tables?
Well, it's Adele with no E on the end, but I assumed that was the male version of Adele. That's like what you do in French.
Are you sure it's not Adele?
I wasn't sure, but I was like, that sounds silly. But Adele, Adele, Adele.
We love you.
Sydney S.
Sydney. We love you so much. Thank you.
Woo. Ashley W. We love you, Ashley. Thank you so very much. Kinkerbell. We love you.
Okay,
just a reminder that whatever you put in as your username is a what we read.
I'm picturing Tinkerbell wearing black leather with like a 50 Shades of Grey riding cop. Crop. Maybe she's riding a cop.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways,
we don't need two people on this podcast. Kinkerbell, we love you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Woo. Gabriella H.
Gabriella.
We love you, Gabriella.
We love you so much. Thank you
very much. Danielle M.
Danielle.
Danielle, we love you.
Danielle.
I said Danielle.
I said, I don't know what I said. Thank you so
love
much,
you,
Danielle.
Catherine H.
Catherine H.
Catherine.
Woo-hoo. We love you,
Catherine.
Thank you so much.
Lynn B.
Lynn B.
Thank you, Lynn. We love you,
We
Lynn.
love you so
Thank
much.
you so much, Lynn. And Elizabeth D.
Elizabeth D.
Elizabeth,
Woo,
we
woo.
love you.
We love you so much.
Thank you so much,
Thank
as
you.
always.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much. We do thank you, though. It's
Yes.
the best part.
Many much thanks.
And I'll give another thank you to Morgan H., who suggested this case.
Oh, thank you, Morgan.
I did not know the ride I was getting on.
Oh, boy.
It's so interesting. It's unfathomable, but in a different way.
Okay.
It's literally you just can't fathom it. You know?
I think that, yeah.
Yeah.
You thought you fathomed it, and then it was on.
That's exactly what happened.
And then Laura wrote a dissertation on it.
Yep. Yeah. Well, what happened?
What had happened was
I watched American Nightmare on Netflix, cousin of Netflix.
Oh, okay. Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's the museum one. And I do highly recommend that. It's a 2 or 3 part series. So good. And I wrote my whole case and got really into it. Just about done. And then I found a book.
We has problems.
Yeah. So it's so much better. So the book I read was Victim F. I'll give you all the details at the end too. And then I also found there was an online magazine, Atavist, which published a really excellent, really detailed article called A Crime Beyond Belief. And it has a lot of details that were not in the Netflix documentary.
Ooh.
So I have all of them, all of the details.
Give them to me.
Yes.
Hit me with them.
Okay. That was me dramatically
The
flipping
page.
my page.
Flippity flappeting. Flippity flapping.
Flappy Bird. All right. Marianne and Joe Quinn met when Marianne was in nursing school. The theme of medicine and helping others was present immediately in the family, as Joe was a doctor, and the two settled down in Rutland, Vermont. In November 1984, they welcomed their third child, Aaron, who joined his 2 older brothers, Ethan and Matt. The family enjoyed the picturesque mountain town.
Say that 10 times fast.
No, thank you. Twice was enough. Frequently going to nearby Killington to ski. When Aaron was 6, they moved to Northern California, arriving there in a dramatic road trip for which the 5 of them took a month, stopping along the way and camping to get to the other side of the country. They moved into a small home on a few acres in the rural town of Penryn, just a couple of hours away from Lake Tahoe. Despite Marianne and Joe's demanding careers, they were proud, involved parents. The family was truly tight-knit, camping across the country. I think we'll do that to you.
Yeah, for sure.
Working hard on their small farm or laughing together and always supporting one another. This stable home created a wonderful childhood for Aaron. He was a good kid, never getting in trouble, never using drugs. In fact, he described himself as a deathly shy and sensitive nerd.
That's how I describe myself.
You got one of those things, right? He loved school and did well, though he struggled to answer questions in class, afraid to speak up. However, in 4th grade, he went out for the football team along with some of his friends and pushed through his fears, eventually becoming the captain of his football team.
Oh, wow.
He didn't let this newfound confidence and success change him, though. Marianne was the school nurse for the special ed kids, and Aaron would spend his lunches talking with the ones who loved football. He continued to excel academically and got into a pre-med program at UC Davis, intending to become a father like his doctor, a doctor like his father.
Okay.
But as Aaron got closer to that dream, he realized that as a doctor, he'd spend less and less time with the patients and more time doing paperwork. So during his senior year, he volunteered at a physical therapy clinic and immediately fell in love. He went on to get his doctorate, and after graduating, he got a job at Vallejo, California's flagship medical center, Kaiser. To be closer to work, Aaron moved to Vallejo in 2010, saving up to buy his own house a couple of years later. He found a fixer-upper on Mare Island, a flat peninsula that's part of Vallejo. It's small, just a mile wide and less than 4 miles long, so everyone knows everyone. It's a bit of a strange place, though. It used to be a naval shipyard, and when that closed in 1996, a private developer planned to build a ton of neighborhoods and a bunch of commercial space. But then in the '08 recession, funding dried up almost overnight, and the construction stopped just as quickly. So what had happened was some of the subdivisions were finished, and Aaron's house was in one of those, but that faced this large natural park where there were no more developments, and so there was a ton of privacy to the back, and then really densely populated neighborhood where he lived.
Okay.
Now, the list of projects the house demanded was no problem for him and Joe, that's his father, who loved do-it-yourself work, and they both shared a love of woodworking. They spent many evenings and weekends bringing the house back to life, cherishing the moments together because Joe had recently been diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma, and they thought this year could be his last. When Aaron wasn't busy working on his house, he spent time with the people he'd grown close to at work. One of those people was a woman named Andrea Roberts. Aaron and Andrea began dating, despite the fact that Andrea was divorced as a result of having cheated on her ex-husband with an FBI agent named David Sesma. In fact, Aaron and Andrea ran into David on their first date. Andrea told Aaron that David had begun pursuing her again, but not to worry, she'd moved on.
Awkward.
But then 3 months later, she went to a party where she knew David would be and told Aaron that she didn't want him to go because she didn't want the two to meet. Despite all of this, Aaron believed he was in love with Andrea, and 2 years later, he proposed. Andrea had moved into Aaron's house, and everything seemed great until Aaron found out that Andrea had been cheating on him, but not with David.
Oh.
With another police officer from Fairfield, a city close by to where they lived.
Plot twist.
Definitely. This man, Stephen Rui, was married at the time. Not great.
No.
So Aaron called off the engagement and had a difficult time detaching himself from Andrea. She remained living at the house, and she and Aaron saw each other every day at work. That was hard enough, but Andrea would go on to marry Stephen. Aaron wanted to move on too, especially after meeting Denise Huskins. Denise has an equally impressive resume in her career and just as a human. She was born on July 26, 1985, to parents Mike and Jane in Huntington Beach, California. She joined her older brother Joey, and then her little brother Devin completed the family 5 years later. Denise was the kind of child who radiated joy and curiosity. She was always giggling and looking for her next adventure, whether that meant diving into a new sport like softball or volleyball, or picking up surfing. Her easygoing, creative spirit, along with her warmth and thoughtfulness, made her incredibly well-loved and trustworthy, unlike your cats. Jane felt completely at ease leaving Denise alone at home while she was at work or attending her son's baseball games. Do you hear them? Do you hear them, people? I know you say you love them, but I don't.
It's very disruptive.
It's very disruptive. At least leave a good comment, dude. All right. Denise had a knack for turning into the couch is not quite what I mean.
No.
Denise had a knack for turning the couch into cozy pillow nests where she'd happily read and entertain herself. She cherished her alone time and was never a source of trouble, always showing respect and never talking back to her mom. Her father said Denise was a determined little girl. She had dreams and stayed focused on those dreams. Though her parents were full of love, it wasn't for each other. They divorced in 1998 after 20 years of marriage. Denise was 13.
Wow. It's a long time to be married and then get divorced.
Yeah, and create a family together. And,
right.
Yeah. That summer was difficult for Denise for reasons beyond the divorce. The family had vacationed on the Colorado River in Southern California, and they'd been joined by some friends, one of whom was a 29-year-old man who was spending a little too much time with Denise and one of the other young girls.
She was 13, right?
She was 13. On the last night of the trip, Denise was sitting by the river with the man as the sun went down. The other adults had retreated to their tents and campers. Under the guise of wanting to stay up and watch the sunrise, the man had them lay on towels as he drank another beer. Before she knew it, he was touching her. All she wanted was for it to be morning and to be over. And eventually it was. She didn't tell anyone what happened, a fact that haunted her when she later found out that he had done the same thing a few years later to another young girl.
Oh, shit.
Even before her parents separated, Denise was a quiet girl. Like Aaron, she was smart, nearly always knowing the answers to her teacher's questions, but turning bright red when she was called on to answer them.
Oh, I did that too.
Did you? That's surprising.
I know. I will confidently answer, but my cheeks are going to get red.
Oh, interesting.
I call them my anxiety cheeks.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
My face gets really blotchy when I cry, and my son, that also happens, and it's really funny because we always know if he's been crying upstairs or something. It's adorable. Also, like Erin, Denise always knew she wanted to go into a career where she could help people. In fact, in second grade, she wrote that she wanted to be a nurse so she could, quote, take care of people and be nice.
Oh,
which is really sweet. Despite her personal challenges, she excelled in high school and attended California State University, Long Beach, spending 6 years there to earn her undergraduate degree in kinesiology and exercise science. In addition to this focus, which is essentially pre-med for physical therapy school, she also minored in business entrepreneurship because she wanted to own her own business one day.
Wow.
As if the other wasn't enough. Like pre-med's
Right.
like not enough, so
No.
you have to do a little more.
Correct.
But college wasn't all positive. Denise had been deeply affected by the abuse she had suffered when she was 13 and pushed boundaries where she shouldn't. When she was 20, she was pulled over for drinking and driving. She immediately confessed getting a DUI. She paid the fines and the legal fees and then rode her bike to the bus stop for the year and a half that her license was suspended.
Oh my gosh.
Knowing it was the justified punishment for her discretions.
Wow.
Just like totally good. But she managed to stay on track, and she was accepted into Long Island University in Brooklyn to pursue her graduate degree in physical therapy. She was excited to move to New York, working multiple jobs to save up to pay for school. But the distance was daunting. On the day she had graduated from Cal State, her dad had a stroke. And even though he recovered well, moving 3,000 miles away worried her. But like every other time in this incredible woman's life, she persevered. And 3 years later, she earned her doctorate degree.
Oh, Denise.
She's amazing. She started her career in Boston, but shortly after knew it was time to move back to California. And this decision was solidified with the 2013 Boston Marathon bombing.
Oh, yeah.
She and her friends had originally planned to be at the finish line, which
my
is where the
gosh.
bombs went off. But just minutes, literally minutes before they detonated, they had chosen to watch it from somewhere else.
Wow.
She was like, that's it. Packing up shop, going home.
Wow.
Denise applied to a residency program in California and got it, returning to her beloved West Coast in Vallejo, 400 miles north of her friends and family in Huntington Beach. The 9-month program is world-renowned, with physical therapists from across the globe coming to learn a specialized treatment approach for patients with severe neurological disorders or those with brain or spinal cord injuries.
Wow.
Kind of a big deal. After she finished the residency, Denise planned to start an orthopedic fellowship, a reflection of her love for her work. She already had her doctorate degree, and pursuing the fellowship would actually mean a significant pay cut in addition to a shit ton more work.
Oh my gosh.
The fellowship was to begin in January, which was a gap from when her residency ended, but the director told her about a job at Kaiser that she could take that would cover her until the fellowship. It also happened to be the same hospital where Erin worked.
Oh, you know, they have great roles too.
Oh my God. That took me so long because I was like, yeah, they are good roles, like positions that they're working in, question mark.
No.
I got it.
Sandwich buns.
I got it there. Have you been waiting to say that since I said Erin works there?
I missed my opportunity the first time.
And
So
you
I'm
didn't know. You
so
would get
glad.
a second one.
Because sometimes if I wait too long and try to sneak it in like a sentence
know.
later, you're like, it's not funny anymore.
It's true, though. That was really funny.
I got it.
Good job. You
Nailed
should be
it.
a comedian. All right. So, of course, Erin and Denise crossed paths at work, but they also began running into each other when they were out with friends. They always had great conversations, ranging from light topics like their shared love of sports to deeper ones around their love for their jobs and in their intense motivation. Denise knew Erin was involved with someone, and especially given the fact that they all worked together, she proceeded cautiously. But they were drawn to each other, and Erin had made it clear that he wanted to completely separate from Andrea, so he and Denise began dating. With the added pressure and awkwardness of Erin beginning a new relationship, Andrea finally moved out, and Erin and Denise fell completely in love. But even though Andrea had moved out, she still worked with Erin and Denise, and Erin was having a hard time. He had been engaged to her after all, and seeing her every day was making things confusing. After 7 months together, Denise discovered Erin was still texting Andrea. So Erin and Denise were together for 7 months. Erin was still texting Andrea, and their relationship was on the rocks.
Come on, Erin. Andrea cheated on you.
I know, but Denise and Erin were determined, and although they tried to take several breaks, they always came back to each other. The week of March 16th, 2015 was one of those breaks. Denise had stayed away from Erin, trying to sort out her feelings. Aaron, who had a couple of days off that week, tried to busy himself by focusing on his hobby of woodworking and refinishing a rocking chair for his mom. But he was upset, spending a lot of time alone, and he became paranoid that someone was watching him.
Oh.
He kept thinking that he saw a glare of light through his window, like the reflection off of someone's watch or phone, but logically he knew that didn't make any sense. Remember, there's no houses or buildings that way. It's just the unfinished, like, wildlife in the unfinished hills. Mm-hmm. He told himself the only thing it could be was like a piece of metal on a post. There was some, loose fencing, that kind of thing. Mm-mm. He figured he must just be generally anxious because he was also convinced that someone had been in his house when he came home. Like things were just slightly off, moved a tiny bit. But again, he knew that didn't make any sense. He had a security system. Although that had been tripping for no reason. He even had to call the security company about it. But you know how that goes. One thing happens, it puts your mind onto something, and then everything that happens after that is like confirmation bias.
Right.
Anyway, on the night of March 22nd, he wasn't thinking about any of that. He was thinking about the fact that Denise had finally agreed to come over to talk. They ordered pizza from their favorite place, and she picked it up on the way over. It was tense when she arrived, but they knew the only way to get through it was to get through it. As they did, they talked about the progress that Aaron had been making in therapy, which he'd agreed to when Denise first found out he was still talking to Andrea. He knew he needed help moving past that part of his life.
Oh.
Just like exceptionally good guy.
Yeah.
Finally, they were exhausted, but in a good place, and Denise agreed to spend the night. As they headed to bed, Aaron shut down the house as he always did, which included letting Mr. Rogers, who was the stray cat he'd adopted, into the garage, which was his preferred sleeping location, and then checking to make sure all the doors and windows were locked.
I hate this.
Yeah. They were comforted by the sound of a heavy rain, which they noticed because they'd been in a drought for several months. They were sure they'd sleep soundly. How very wrong they were.
Oh, no.
Wake up. This is a robbery.
No.
We are not here to hurt you. Aaron's eyes snap open, and he catches the time on the clock. 3:30 a.m. Lie face down. He's trying to get his bearings, but he's completely disoriented from the sudden commands and the blinding lights, maybe flashlights, along with 3 laser dots skittering back and forth across the covers. Aaron, you are facing up. Lie face down. The man speaking tells Aaron and Denise that he's going to place 2 restraints on the bed. Denise can see that they're squares created from 4 connected zip ties. The man speaking instructs her to tie Aaron's feet and hands, which she does, trying to keep them as loose as possible, but not obviously so. You are doing a good job. Now you are going to walk to the bedroom closet and lie face down on the floor. Do not look up. Keep your head down. Denise does as she's told, observing 2 pairs of legs, all dressed in black. Once she lays down in the closet, her wrists and ankles are secured with the same type of restraints. Then someone puts swim goggles over her eyes, but she can't see. They've been covered with black tape. In addition to the person with her in the closet, she can hear someone downstairs going through the kitchen cabinet, and yet another using what sounds like a drill in the living room. Then the intruder takes away another one of her senses. He puts headphones on her, and a recording begins to play. At first, it's kind of like spa music, like wind chimes, and then a digitally altered voice says, "Stay calm. We're not here to hurt you. This is not your fault. We're here purely for financial reasons. This will all be over soon." This plays over a couple of times, and then it says, "A medical professional will be in shortly to check your vitals. You will be given a mixture of NyQuil and diazepam. If you do not take it orally, it will be injected intravenously." I know Marina would just keel over at that point. She'd be like, "Give it to me. I'll drink whatever you want."
I'll snort it. Just do not inject it.
Literally. Indeed, the speaking man returns to the closet and takes her blood pressure, asks her medical history, and if she has any allergies or is on any medications that may be contraindicated with the sedative he's about to give her. And he uses that word.
This is so fucking bizarre.
This is just the beginning. He does the same with Aaron, who's in the other bedroom. Both Aaron and Denise accept the liquid sedative. Another recording starts to play through the headphones, this time saying, "We will ask you a series of questions about bank accounts, passwords, and personal information about one another. If we believe you're not telling the truth, your partner will be punished by electric shock, then cuts to the face. If you answer our questions honestly, you will be rewarded by staying together in the same room. This confuses them. They're already separated, but they don't have long to ponder this contradiction. After asking for Aaron's phone and passwords, the speaking man picks Denise up and brings her downstairs to the couch. He puts her down surprisingly gently and then heads back upstairs. Before he does, he stops and says, "Are you comfortable?" The condo is cold in the middle of the night, and Denise is dressed for bed, so she asks if he'll put a blanket on her, which he does, again, gently.
Okay.
Aaron is still lying face down in one of the spare bedrooms. He, too, has headphones on and is blindfolded. The speaking man enters the bedroom and asks him, "Do Denise and Andrea look alike?" Remember, Andrea is his ex-fiancée. Aaron replies, "Yes, they both have long blonde hair." The speaking man says, "This was intended for Andrea. We got the wrong intel. We need to decide what we're going to do next." I wish you could see Marina's face because her jaw is just hanging open and her brow is all furrowed.
I'm getting permanent wrinkles from this case.
The confusion.
I'm going to need Botox.
He then asks Aaron what obligations he has over the next few days and if anyone is supposed to visit. Aaron responds that he has work the next day. And then Aaron hears 2 sets of footsteps walking across the bathroom tile. The speaking man says, "Are we doing contingency 1 or contingency 2? Contingency 1 or contingency 2? Aaron doesn't hear the replies, but hears the other person walk away. The speaking man then tells him, "This is what we're going to do. We're going to take Denise for 48 hours.
Oh, God.
We decided to proceed with the operation because it will allow us to practice our protocols, and there's enough financial benefit to us. It will cost you $15,000 to get back Denise. Is that acceptable?" I mean, what the fuck is Aaron supposed to respond to?
Right.
So he says, okay. An unidentifiable amount of time passes, and the speaking man returns downstairs to Denise. She can tell his tone has shifted. He says, "We have a problem. This was not meant for you. This was meant for Andrea." Denise is floored. What the fuck does that mean? And what the fuck does Andrea have to do with all of this, of all people?
Right.
Then he tells her the same thing he told Aaron, that they've decided what to do, that they're going to take her for 48 hours. She hears someone go out to the driveway and start her car, a Honda CR-V, which is blocking in Aaron's Camry. The speaking man grabs Denise's overnight bag, her purse, her work bag, and her glasses, telling her he'll bring them with him. He then picks her up and brings her out to the trunk of Aaron's car and places her inside. She can feel the comforter from their bed underneath her, but without the blanket from the couch, she's freezing again. She asks tentatively if she can have it, and he responds, "Oh yeah, of course. We're all wearing wetsuits, so I'm not sure how cold it is." And with that confusing sentence, the trunk shuts.
And then she falls asleep with a mixture of NyQuil.
Basically, yeah. Back inside, the speaking man attempts to carry Aaron downstairs, but he's not strong enough, so he drags him to his feet and forces him, Aaron stumbling from the sedatives, down to the couch. Headphones are put back over his ears, and a recording begins. "Aaron, we're going to take Andrea for a 48-hour period. You may be wondering, or you may pay the amount provided by your contact to secure Andrea's return. You may be wondering why this is happening to you. It may help to learn about our organization. We're a black market group hired to retrieve payments for personal and financial debts. Our group has secured payments across the country. This will be your burden to bear. Do not attempt to go to the police. We will always be watching you and your family. In one instance, a subject moved across the country in the belief we would not find her. Years later, we placed a pie on her doorstep confirming to her that we know her location. You will be moved downstairs to your living room. A camera has been installed to monitor your movements. The camera's serial number has been filed off, and authorities will not be able to trace it. Our cameras are highly sophisticated and work at high temperatures. Foolishly, one subject turned up the heat inside his home in an attempt to short-circuit our cameras. He was sadly mistaken. Any attempt to change the temperature will result in harm to Andrea. The blinds will be shut, and there will be markings that you must stay inside. If you do not follow our instructions, we will harm Andrea. Hidden cameras have been installed throughout the house, except for your downstairs bathroom. You are allowed to use the bathroom for short periods. If a neighbor or family makes contact, you must make an excuse that does not raise suspicion. Any attempts to call authorities will result in harm to Andrea. We will be watching you at the bank. If you attempt to alert the bank teller, we will kill Andrea. Waiting will be the hardest part. You should entertain yourself by reading. Stay strong for Andrea and your family.
Okay. First question. What does a pie have to do? Is that threatening?
It's so strange to me because it's so professional otherwise. And then
he's like, one time we sent a blueberry pie so that she knew we were watching.
It's so confusing. And then in addition to like generally being threatening, Aaron is disturbed to hear his own name and then Andrea's name.
Right.
And this was obviously pre-planned and they really were intending to capture Andrea and not Denise. Mm-hmm. So once the recording finishes, the speaking man tells Aaron, I have a portable phone charger. I'll place it on the kitchen counter. You'll take it with you when you travel to the bank. Make sure your cell phone battery is fully charged. A dead cell phone is unacceptable. In the morning, you will call in sick to work. You will use Denise's phone to text her manager. State that she has a family emergency and will be gone for the week. We're going to take your laptop. After this is over, we'll return it to factory settings and leave it somewhere you can retrieve it. I'm now going to carry you downstairs and place you on the couch. You must stay there until sunrise. I will leave the phones and scissors on the counter. Stay on the couch until morning. You can then cut yourself free. Your car will be left somewhere on the island. You will be provided the location to retrieve it. Do you have any questions?
Okay. You know how many first world problems I have thinking, please don't erase my laptop. That's so inconvenient to return it to factory settings.
Yeah.
But could you not?
Yeah, that would be insult to injury, I guess.
You're already kidnapping my girlfriend and I can't turn my heat up. So can you leave my laptop alone?
That's the other weird thing about this. That makes no sense. It obviously makes no sense. Like, first of all, how hot does your heat go? Like, wow, that 85-degree heat is really going to melt that camera. Yeah, very confusing.
But they're like, our tech is very high tech.
It's very advanced.
So your heat
but 87 degrees, that's dangerous. Hot day in New England maybe might take it out.
So bizarre.
It's very. How bizarre?
So bizarre.
Oh, I thought you were going to sing. How bizarre. How bizarre. What? You don't know that song?
No. What song is it?
What? Bizarre.
By who?
It's is it a one-hit wonder? Probably. You'll know it the second you listen to it.
Okay.
Oh my God. This is what I have to deal with. Okay. I can't work in these conditions. Okay. Unknowingly mimicking Denise, Aaron asks for a blanket. He's given one along with the same response. Oh yes, I forget how cold it is because we're wearing wetsuits. This will all be over soon. And with that, Aaron is alone. He squints to read the time, his vision blurred by the powerful combination of drugs in his system. It's exactly 5 a.m., probably another hour and a half until sunrise. He tries to focus on what to do, but he can't fight the sedatives. Next thing he knows, his alarm is going off for work. He struggles to find his phone and then somehow manages to get through the sick line protocol for him and texts Denise's manager from her phone, saying she has a family emergency. Her manager's response is so kind and touching, amplifying just how alone Aaron is.
Oh.
It really reminds me of some of the other ones we've talked about, but Colleen Stan, the girl in the box, when she's just out in public, but she's alone. It's like he's like getting this super kind response. And I think the manager was like, oh, is there anything you need? He's like, the police, like anything, but he can't say anything.
I wouldn't survive a situation like this.
Yeah. The second someone came in, you would just actually, like, your heart would stop, I think.
Well, not only that, they'd be like, don't tell anybody. I'd be like, okay. Laura, everyone's been kidnapped. Help. Help.
You would tell me before your husband.
Well,
he would be there, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say, in the scenario, they would have taken him. So
oh, yeah, I forgot.
He knew already.
All right. Otherwise, you would have told me first. Yes. Okay. So his tasks completed, Aaron sinks back into the couch, exhausted, still heavily sedated. He shuts his eyes for just a second, and when he opens them, it's 11:30.
Yeah, that purple drank.
Oh, yeah.
That's serious.
Yes. That would just NyQuil would do that for me.
Oh, God. I love when I'm sick enough to take NyQuil.
Okay, but only if you're not going to wake up.
Well, yeah.
So
Same thing with Benadryl.
Yes. If there's been like a couple times where I've had to wake up in the middle of the night after taking NyQuil, and it is disorienting to say the least. So I can't imagine having someone break into your house. That's disorienting. You're in shock, and then you get this.
Wait, why are you taking NyQuil and having to wake up in the middle of the night?
I have a 1-year-old.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, that's fair. I was like, are you like setting your alarm for 1 a.m? No. You're like, I like to get up and just see what happens.
You never know. Nothing good happens. What do they say between whatever time?
Oh, nothing good happens after 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Is it 2 a.m?
Sure. For me, it's about 10 p.m.
From Himium.
How I Met Your Mother. Yeah. I'm shocked that I got there.
So proud of you.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. Okay. So Aaron shuts his eyes for just a second. He opens them. It's 11:30. The drugs are starting to wear off, and for the first time, he looks around his condo. The blinds are down with red electrical tape across them. The same tape marks small but significant lines in front of each of his doors, reminding him of his boundaries. He can see a camera is mounted in the corner of the ceiling, pointing directly at him. He's startled by a text from www.freetext.com saying, acknowledge that you received this message to the email provided. He had been given an email address. Mm-hmm. But confused, he sends us a response from his live.com email account to AQJJOP Kirkland Vallejo at hotmail.com.
Ooh, a Hotmail.
A Hotmail.
I love it.
Yes. They, I'm sure, used MapQuest to get to the condo.
They did.
The email address, that's the email address that the speaking man gave him earlier. He asked, do I need to reply via email as well, or should we communicate via text message? Minutes passed, and I'm sure his heart was beating every second, and a text comes in that reads, respond ASAP. Aaron is panicked. What if they didn't get the email? Are they going to hurt Denise? He writes back that he did respond via email, and the texter says, send email to your Comcast account. The emailing between his 2 email accounts.
Okay.
He gets an email a few minutes later that says, we will proceed from this address, and then they're responding also. So I'm pretty sure he's sending it on his phone, and they have his laptop is how I think that happened.
Okay.
Denise as well. We have recorded a short message stating so that I will format and send at some point. Are you able to obtain a cash advance from your bank card? If so, cash in the amount of $8,500 from one account and cash in the amount of $7,500 from the other account would settle this matter. For your own safety, we do not wish to trigger the $10,000 reporting limit or other structured transaction regulations. You would be welcome to transfer what money you like back to the credit card. The drop would happen tomorrow night or early Wednesday morning, with the release to follow quickly provided all instructions are followed. Is this acceptable? And then it's signed just the letter L. Again, Aaron panics. He knows he has access technically to that amount of money, but he genuinely doesn't know how to actually get it. He sends an email back saying this, and they say, please contact Chase Bank and find out whether it's possible. If asked, state that the money is used for a ski boat. We will follow up in 30 minutes.
What's a ski boat?
Like a boat that you bring.
Oh, like water skiing?
I guess. Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know.
I'm just thinking about the time that Cessna hosted an episode and she was talking about like jet skis up on the mountain. I was like, jet skis up in the snow? I think she meant
real ski. Oh, snowmobiles?
Yeah. Wow, that story fell apart. So sorry about that.
Did. So Aaron sends an email with the bad news that he can only take out $3,500 and waits for the response. And waits, panicking the whole time. He knows he can't call 911 because of the monitoring software they told him they put on his phone, but he needs to do something, so he calls his brother Ethan, who is an FBI agent. Ethan doesn't pick up, so he calls Ethan's girlfriend, Catherine. He tells her, I need you to call Ethan and tell him to call me right away. People broke into my house and kidnapped Denise. They're charging me a ransom and watching me with a camera. They say if I call the police, they're going to kill her. I need Ethan's help. That is enough to get Ethan's attention. And Aaron quickly tells him what happened and then begs him to call maybe a fellow agent or anyone. Ethan calmly tells him that the best thing to do is to call 911. Aaron says he can't. They'll hurt Denise. And Ethan remains calm. He just says, that's what all of them say. We have to get authorities involved now. I'm coming down. I'll be there as soon as I can. Despite his brother's sound advice, Aaron still hesitates. What if this one decision gets Denise killed? But he finally dials. At 1:54 p.m., so this is now Monday, March 23rd, a 911 operator takes the call. Aaron sputters out, my girlfriend's been kidnapped. He briefly explains that she's been gone for hours, and the operator is confused why he waited 9 hours to call the police. He tries to tell her that he's been drugged and that he's had the threats about calling 911. She's dubious, but dispatches the police.
Yeah, she's like, he calls. He's like, I'm so sorry. I took an 8-hour NyQuil nap.
Yeah. And I'm sure, like, if you didn't understand that, like, the whole scenario of someone, like, telling you you have to take this stuff. So
yeah.
It's very unbelievable, unfathomable.
It is.
When they arrive, Aaron lets officers in. They ask what the problem is. He repeats what happened. They ask if he's on drugs, and he says, yes, the kidnappers drugged me. They ask if anyone's upstairs. He says no, but they clear the house anyway. Back downstairs, the officers see a bunch of beer bottles near the garbage can and ask Aaron if he's been partying. They're clearly making an implication that he's gone crazy, whatever. Aaron tells him, nope, those are the ones waiting for recycling. They're all, like, nicely lined up by the garbage can. He sees Aaron and Denise's rocks glasses from their old fashions the night before, which have been rinsed and are in the sink. So this is, like, a very put together, very organized house. And he's like, what's that? And he's like, it's literally a water glass. Like, really, that actually happened. And Aaron is getting so frustrated at this point because he's thinking minutes are going by and Denise is in danger or being taken further away. So they finally bring him outside and they have him sit on the porch where he and the police cars are a complete spectacle for the entire neighborhood to watch.
For sure.
As he's sitting there while the police officers start to look through his condo, he realizes how dry it is outside. Like they're still in a drought. But didn't it downpour last night? Finally, Ethan arrives, but before they can talk, an officer tells Aaron that they want to take him down to the station to give a statement and provide a blood sample. When the officer goes to his car for paperwork, Ethan and Aaron are able to talk quickly, and Aaron does his best to convey the unbelievable series of events. After Aaron signs a waiver allowing the police to search his property, the officer questions Aaron about his relationship with Denise. Aaron just truthfully admits that they've been fighting over Andrea, but that he has no interest in her and that he loves Denise. Eventually, Aaron is brought to the Vallejo police station, separated from Ethan, and stripped of his clothes for evidence. Kind of fair, but
okay,
but still, they give him like literal prison clothes to wear, like black and white striped clothes, and it really is a physical representation of their decided minds. They have him sign another waiver and then take his blood and take pictures of him, and then the interrogation begins.
Finney's really upset about it too.
Yes, me too. Aaron had arrived at the police station at 3:34 p.m. After the processing and a couple of hours of initial questioning, a new detective comes in, sits down, and introduces himself as Matt Mustard. Detective Mustard, your cat. I'm just ignoring him. We would be here all night if we paused every time.
Okay, Detective Mustard.
Yes.
Where's Captain Ketchup?
No, it's like Professor Plum, almost.
Yeah.
No, like from Clue. There's no ketchup in Clue.
I know. But I liked mine better.
Okay, but it missed
Detective
the joke.
Mustard and Captain Ketchup.
Right, but that's not really the Clue joke.
No, it's not, but I get it.
You get your own joke.
You do your joke, I'll do mine.
Okay, all right.
You're welcome.
Oh. I don't think your cats liked that joke.
Them's be fighting words.
Okay.
All right.
I love how cats fight and then just lick their paw. Like, oh, it wasn't. We're done. I'm fine. It's cool.
So it's actually... Okay, so that's Finney talking to Teddy. He's really upset. Mm-hmm.
You're like translating. You're like a translator for him.
I was going to say, Finney irritates everybody.
Agreed.
Like he gets in their face and they get mad. So Teddy probably just gave him the what's what, and now Finney's upset about it. So he was just announcing his disdain for Theodore Catsby.
Is that what his full name is?
Yeah,
that's adorable. Wow. What's not adorable, though, is that we're continuing. Oh my God. Okay.
Wait, one more story about Finney. We call him Heavy Paw as well because there are times that he walks down the stairs while we're watching TV and it's so loud I have to turn my head to see whether it's him or one of my 40-pound children. It's very impressive.
Yeah, they can make a lot of noise.
They really can.
Sure.
That's why in the middle of the night I'm like, it's a cat. Somebody's going to be...
It's not a man wearing wetsuits.
Nope.
Okay.
No wetsuits in this house.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, back to Detective Mustard.
And Captain Ketchup.
He tells Aaron that they're treating him like a victim and that he's not being detained and that he can leave anytime.
Okay.
Now, our sweet gremlins, what should you do?
Get a fucking lawyer.
Yeah. And I can't actually, I can't blame Aaron because he so genuinely is desperate to help them find Denise. And all he can think about, besides the fact that he has been in this nightmare for 12 straight hours.
Right.
And in shock and like coming off. I don't know anything when I'm coming off of NyQuil anyway, but he just wants to help them find Denise. So he does agree to continue talking with them.
Yep.
As Aaron repeats the information that he told the last detective, he notices Detective Mustard isn't taking any notes and his questions are becoming more and more hostile. Eventually, Detective Mustard stops him and says, "Listen to me for a second. The part of your story you're telling here, I ain't buying it at all. There ain't no frogmen that came into your house. Nobody dressed in wetsuits or it didn't happen. That didn't happen. I don't think she was kidnapped from your home. I think something bad happened in your house. And I think something bad happened between you and her."
Wow.
Yep.
So really, way to look at it, approach it really objectively.
Yes, I would call him Detective Matt Objective Mustard. That's what I would call him.
Is his name Matt Mustard?
Yes.
That's a name. That's a name.
Yeah. We don't like him.
Okay.
We don't like him.
I don't really like mustard anyway, so.
After holding Aaron for a while longer, Detective Mustard tells him they'd like him to take a lie detector test.
No.
It's 4:30 in the morning, now over 24 hours since this nightmare began. Aaron's been questioned almost nonstop for 12 hours.
No.
Being given a few hours of reprieve, if you can call it that, on a cold, hard bench with harsh fluorescent lights. They said, you can go ahead and try to sleep a little bit.
Feels like Peter Riley.
It does. He's not, and was he, wait, now I completely forget. Was Peter held or had he asked for a lawyer?
He didn't ask for a lawyer, but
Right. Right.
They kept him.
Okay, yeah, then same.
In jail.
But again, desperate to do anything to help Denise, and also at this point probably delirious, he agrees and goes through with it.
No.
After nearly an hour of intense questioning, the agent says, "Aaron, there's no question in my mind that you failed this test.
Oh my
you
God.
failed it miserably."
This is the same episode as Peter Riley.
Yeah.
Just swap
And
out the names.
Aaron just loses it, and because he knows what happened and he knows he didn't do anything, and he's not only is he upset at the fact that they think he did something to Denise, he knows that every minute that they're blaming him, they're not looking for Denise.
Right.
And then this agent just basically berates Aaron, telling him he killed Denise, he's trying to cover it up, and Aaron is just beyond distraught. On the Netflix documentary, they have footage, camera of him in there, and it is heart-wrenching watching. I mean, he's like curled up in a ball. Ugh. It's awful. And I really recommend the documentary. Finally, Aaron says, "I did not take her." And finally says, "I guess I need a lawyer. I want you guys to find her, but I guess I need a lawyer." And again, my summary does not do it justice. Aaron had been in this living nightmare since 3 a.m., was questioned for almost a day straight with maybe 3 hours of sleep, really, if you could call it that.
Right.
On a bench in prison clothes. Detective Mustard clearly assumed he killed Denise. He told him that and was hell-bent on getting him to admit it. Although Aaron was technically free to leave, he didn't, again, because he was trying to help them find Denise, and he hadn't said the magic words, "I need a lawyer." And again, I think, so not only do I think you should all watch the documentary, but you should also read the book. Again, it's Victim F, and I'll tell you at the end the author. But it has so much more detail on what Aaron went through, because I think the documentary really focuses on Denise, as it should. It's really awful. But Aaron was also victimized and traumatized, and not just by the intruders, but by the very people sworn to protect him.
What's the Netflix one called? American Nightmare?
American Nightmare, yep. While Aaron was being interrogated, Ethan, his brother, called their parents to let them know what was going on. I can't imagine that call.
No.
They immediately drove over to the police station. The police are happy to talk to them, but only insofar as they contribute to implicating Aaron. The police are trying to make it sound like Aaron is a violent, spoiled rich kid, but that's not at all. I told you about his childhood, and just incredibly authentic, sweet, hardworking, kind person. A detective has also contacted Denise's parents. Although they were divorced, Mike and Jane are still amicable and banded together in this unbelievably difficult situation. They talked and decided that Mike would go down to Vallejo. Jane stayed in Huntington Beach in case Denise was somehow released and made it home. Then around 12:30 in the afternoon on Tuesday, so Aaron's parents and Denise's parents, Denise's mom, not Denise, had arrived on Monday.
Okay.
A reporter on Tuesday afternoon for the San Francisco Chronicle. Let me just put this sentence in all the wrong order.
Okay.
I just keep trying to give you information. So the kidnapping happened Sunday night into Monday morning.
Okay.
So Aaron's been at the police station, everything Monday. Mm-hmm. That's also the same day his parents and Denise's mom arrived. And then the following day, 12:30 in the afternoon. Yep. A reporter for the San Francisco Chronicle named Henry Lee, but not our favorite doctor, Henry Lee,
okay,
receives an email, subject line Denise, with an audio clip. After listening to it, Henry immediately sends it to Vallejo PD. It is the proof of life that the speaking man mentioned back in the recording.
Oh.
So a detective notifies Denise's parents that they've received a proof of life recording and that they need to confirm that it's really Denise. So Jane's excited. She immediately flies down with Devin, Denise's younger brother. When Jane arrives at the station along with Mike, Detective Mustard asks a lot of questions about Denise's character, her history of boyfriends, her drinking habits. Jane is honest, including telling them that Denise had been molested when she was young. Detective Mustard tells her that women who have been molested often pretend to have it happen again so they can relive the thrill of it.
Wow.
Yeah, what the actual fuck.
Wow.
Finally, after hours of questioning Jane and Mike, he plays the recording. I could not find a version of this online. I tried. I was going to bootleg it, record it on my phone all illegally, and I could not find one. But it is on the Netflix documentary, so go listen to that.
Okay. I'm sorry. I can't get over what a piece of shit Detective Mustard is.
He's awful. Awful.
Yeah.
His Denise's voice on the recording is slow and level. She says, "Hi, my name is Denise," and she doesn't say all that. She says it correctly. "Hi, my name is Denise Huskins. I'm kidnapped. Otherwise, I'm fine. My first concert was Blink 182. Earlier today, there was a plane crash in the Alps. 158 people died." So she's identifying a fact about herself and to prove that it's that day. Denise's parents confirm that that's Denise's voice, albeit detached. Detective Mustard seems uninterested in the confirmation and lets them go.
I'd be like, can we get a new detective in here?
Seriously.
Can we sub you out?
Well, and I would say the average person does not spend much time being questioned by FBI agents and all that.
Right.
And so I bet they are wondering, is this, not that comment, obviously, but I bet they're like, is this normal? How would you possibly know what to expect? So
more,
yeah, and less of that. So more better and less bad.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
So along with the recording, the reporter, Henry, received an email, which he also sent to Vallejo PD, that said, "As stated, Denise will be returned safely tomorrow. We will send a link to her location after she's been dropped off. She will be in good health and safe while she waits. Any advance on us or our associates will create a dangerous situation for Denise. Wait until she's recovered and then proceed how you will. We will be ready."
So are they saying now they'll give her back even if he doesn't pay the money?
I guess. Yeah, actually, they say nothing about that. Now that you say that, yeah, it's all about, remember, she was going to be taken for 48 hours, but then, you're right. They say he never resolved the money. Interesting.
That's how ransom works. It's like, can we have it? No? Okay, you can have her back.
That's so strange. Interesting. Meanwhile, once Aaron had finally asked for a lawyer, Ethan is allowed to see him. Aaron is hysterical. He's sleep deprived, in shock. He's anxious. Ethan works on finding him a lawyer and lands on Dan Russo. Attorney Russo and his partner, Amy Morton, arrive at the police station and immediately get Aaron changed into non-Monopoly man clothes and get him out of there. This was not Attorney Russo's first rodeo. He had spent 30 years in Vallejo defending some of the highest profile cases, and his physicality was as large as his reputation. He was 6'3" and had a rough New York accent. He was also an incredibly hard worker, having crawled his way out of the working class of his parents, who hadn't finished high school, but were supportive as Attorney Russo put himself through undergrad and then through law school. So excellent person to have on your side. So Attorney Russo brings Aaron to his office and sits him down. Aaron's family joins them, and Attorney Russo gives them the bad news. He says, "The Vallejo police are the most incompetent, corrupt police force around here, and they will do everything they can to railroad this kid. Be prepared for that."
Oh, no.
Not what you want to hear.
No.
They suggest that Aaron go back to his parents' house, which they do. But before Aaron can relax, they learn about Denise's proof of life recording. Attorney Russo brings Aaron back to the police station to listen and confirm it's her. Like with Denise's parents, Detective Mustard doesn't seem to care about his confirmation. Afterwards, they give him his phone, which had been put on airplane mode. He turns it on to find an email from his live.com email account, and the email was timestamped Monday, March 23rd, so the day before, at 7:46 p.m. It said, "We will call you at about 9 p.m. on your mobile phone. Your liaison will be the same contact as during the acquisition phase. Please verify that you have received this message." There was a follow-up at 8:13 p.m. "We are waiting on your acknowledgement." By the time he's reading it, it's 11 p.m. Tuesday night. Aaron can see that no one had responded, but both messages had been read. He is furious. Detective Mustard had told him no one tried to contact him, even though Aaron kept emphasizing that the kidnappers were communicating via email, that it was probably on his phone, but it's more than 24 hours later. And they're like, "Oh, why don't you write him a message back?" Aaron's like, okay, but what are you going to get for a response?
Right.
That night, they head back to Aaron's parents' house now. That night, Aaron finally gets to sleep in a bed, but he wakes up at 3 a.m., just about the same time they were first attacked. He woke up at 3 a.m. almost every night for the next year.
Isn't 3 a.m. the witching hour, too?
It is.
Ooh, I hate waking up around that time to go pee.
Me too.
Hate it.
Or especially if you're on NyQuil.
Ooh, yeah, that'll get you.
That's how they get you.
That's also when I perfectly bruise my legs and I wake up and I'm like, where did I get this bruise from? And then I bump it into my footboard. Is that what it's called? Baseboard? Leg board.
Arm board. Nose board.
What is it? Footboard?
Yeah.
Doesn't sound right.
I know, but it's your headboard and your footboard. Now it sounds really weird.
Baseboard? No, that's on the floor.
That's on your wall. Moving on.
Anywho.
Denise's parents are equally distraught, not knowing if their daughter is dead or alive, and hoping against hope that she wasn't hurt. They awake Wednesday morning, 72 hours after Denise's kidnapping, with the same pit in their stomachs, wishing they were just waking up from a bad dream, but quickly sinking into reality. As they were figuring out what the game plan was for the day, Mike's Denise's dad, looked down at his phone to see he had a voicemail. He was briefly confused about how he hadn't heard his phone ring until his eyes registered the name of the caller, Denise. He immediately listened to the voicemail. "Daddy, I'm okay."
Oh.
The rest of the message said she had been to her mom's, but no one was there, so she was on the way to his apartment. Now remember, that's 400 miles away. What? He was filled with relief and panic. Relief that she was alive and free, but now panicked that she's vulnerable and alone.
Is she free?
She says.
Okay.
She's walking. She was at, she had gone to her mom's and was walking to her dad's.
Okay.
He immediately called 911 asking to be routed to the Huntington Beach police, but the dispatcher instead routed the call to Vallejo since that's where he was calling from. He couldn't get the information across fast enough, and he almost blew a stack when they asked if he could verify if it was really Denise.
Wow.
As soon as he got off the phone with them, finally having convinced them to dispatch officers from Huntington Beach PD, a neighbor called saying she had Denise with her.
Oh.
Mike again felt relief tinged with worry. He told the neighbor to call 911, and she did. And you'll have to wait until part 2 to hear Denise's side of the story.
Shit.
I am genuinely sorry about this. I was not kidding. I had literally almost all my notes written. I had watched American Nightmare on Netflix, and then I had done some, my usual on the internet. And then I discovered that there is a book, and the authors are Denise and Aaron.
Oh, wow.
So
you had to read it.
That's why I didn't say who the authors were in the beginning. It's Victim F. It is on I need you all to go on this journey with me. Go watch American Nightmare. Well, I mean, wait until wait until the next one. But watch American Nightmare, get the book, and it's insane because I know this was already crazy and it ramps up. And literally, I told Marina that I'm talking to the gremlin. Sorry, I'm not talking to you.
I know.
I told Marina that this could be its own, that could have been a whole case, her returning. And then what's going to happen in part 2 can be its own separate case, which is why they're 2 parts.
I have something really important to add. So every time you say American Nightmare, Fall Out Boy is playing in my head. She's an American beauty. I'm an American nightmare. Spot on.
That was pretty
People
good.
obviously would just confuse me for Patrick Stump.
Yes, your hair is not like isn't his over his eyes, or is it spiked up? I can't remember.
Oh, that's somebody else.
Oh. Every other emo band from the early 2000s.
It's not like the drummer of Fall Out Boy.
I didn't really like Fall Out Boy. I'm gonna just admit that in the safety of
Colby's ears are tingling right now, like a mile away, and she's like, "I sense a disturbance in the force."
Yeah, it's bad. So anyway, that was part 1. I am really sorry. I like kind of cringe every time we have to do 2 parts, but I thought about not including all of it, and then I was like, well, I'll just read the book, and then honestly does it so like the documentary is great. It's great to visualize and actually hear things, but Denise and Aaron telling their story is just so powerful.
Did you like the book?
I loved it.
Okay.
I loved it. I also loved the book, and the book was really good.
Oh, okay. And just so you all know, I have held off watching the documentary. I don't know what's happening either. So yeah, I'm on the journey with you all.
That was apparent to me by watching your face as I read you things.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's better this way.
It is. That's why I never, as soon as I know you're going to cover a case, I never look into it. Mm-hmm. So, and I forget everything as soon as I read it anyway. So like I'm focused. I know everything that happened in this case. And then every other case I've ever done, can't remember.
So it's like when people go back and listen to our stuff and then comment about it, and I'm like,
did that happen?
Okay. Like, or like the inside jokes, and I was like, I don't remember saying
those. I usually remember, but there's somebody that commented. I think, it sounds like there's 3 people on the podcast, but it was like episode like 50 or 60, and it was after Colby had left, and I thought, like, is it though? And then I was like, maybe it's the cat.
It's my second personality coming through.
Yeah. So just know that comment confused the shit out of us because of what maybe they were just commenting on that one, but meant back in the beginning.
I don't know. I love when people go back and listen and they're like, oh my God, the corn teeth killed me. And I'm like, I don't remember the corn teeth.
Is that a real thing?
No, I don't think so.
Because I don't remember.
I'm just thinking of something completely random.
Oh, the footboard. The footboard man that killed me. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, if you're...
what are you doing?
I don't know.
If you are verklempt over Grimm.
I was going to say, if you're listening to Grimm, I'm like, well, you are.
You are.
Make sure you're getting the most in between episodes. You can subscribe to our Patreon by searching Grimm, a true crime podcast on the Patreon app or website. Depending on the tier you choose, you'll get a shout out like you heard at the beginning of the episode, access to monthly bonus episodes, or you can even join our supremely awesome Discord server. And they always keep us honest when we can't remember our episodes.
They know our episodes better.
Yeah.
That's my favorite when we're like, we're thinking of an episode. This happened.
Yep.
Go.
And they immediately know.
Yep.
And then tell us everything.
It's the best.
Now, if you don't want that kind of commitment, hey, no judgment here. We are now on Buy Me a Coffee. Visit buymeacoffee.com/grimcrimepodcast to contribute a one-time amount of your choosing. And thank you so much to everyone who's done that.
Yes.
It makes me, your messages are so sweet when you give them too. You're just like, I just want you to enjoy. And also you make me LOL every time you say that it's actually for Celsius.
We love you guys. And I think I've gotten stickers. So you get a 4-inch sticker if you donate $5 or more. And I think I have gotten them all out to people that have bought us a coffee. But
you have to send us your address.
You do.
PM.
That's the thing. Like DM or send
PM,
a carrier.
DM, the M's, any of the M's.
Whatever way you want to send it. But yeah, send me your address. So if I haven't sent you one, send me your address.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. Make sure you follow us on our socials so you can stay up to date and check out episode pictures, especially when Marina does remember to put the pictures of the Peabody episodes up there.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and do that.
By the way, I also saw this on one of our Patreon comments, what the hell a Peabody is.
Oh, I did see that, yes.
And thank you to someone else who answered that. But it is a Patreon bonus episode. It started kind of as a joke. I was calling it that. And then it became, I wanted to make fetch happen. And then I made fetch happen. Mm-hmm. So eat that, Gretchen. You can find us on Instagram at Grim Crime Podcast. And on Facebook, just search Grimm, a true crime podcast. And if you have a case suggestion like this one, again, thank you, Morgan H., you can message us on any of those platforms, or you can send us an email at grimcrime. You got it by now.
Yeah,
it's
you
at
know.
gmail.com.
You know where we are.
Wherever you do listen, please rate us, or even better, leave us a written review. Thanks for being here, and listen, learn, and stay alive until next time, because the future is grim.